The Golden Cupcake is way more important than what we thought. Why? Well, after examining hundreds of different FNAF characters, this one stood out to me as being very unique and mysterious. And we all know that with FNAF, there is no such thing as a coincidence, and that every character has its own story to tell. So with that, let's dive into the Golden Cupcake and what does his presence add to the story. But first off, let's explain where the Golden Cupcake came from. The Golden Cupcake first appeared in FNAF 3 on camera 4. From time to time, the poster of Toy Bonnie would change to Mr. Cupcake, and every now and then, on a very rare occasion, it would change to a gold variant of Mr. Cupcake. Why? No one really could figure out. The Golden Cupcake would make a couple more appearances in a few other games, but nothing very big, until the Freddy files came out. On page 83 of this book, there's a recipe for pizza cupcakes and features a new rendering of the Golden Cupcake. With that being said, what does this all mean? Unfortunately, I can't just call up Scott Cawthon and just be like, hey, what's the Golden Cupcake mean? So keep in mind, this is only a theory. But to me, in this franchise, something that's always been gold has always been associated with something important. The story of Golden Freddy and the Bite of 83, along with Spring Bonnie being the suit that William Afton wore. So a Golden Cupcake might have more interesting implications than you might think. Now here's something to think about. Throughout the story of FNAF, we have seen multiple different unique characters in their prototypes. I think the perfect example is just Freddy himself. In Secret of the Mimic, we got to see a prototype of the original Fredbear Springlock. Then there's Fredbear himself from the Bite of 83. Then there's Withered Freddy, there's Toy Freddy, then there's the Freddy we all know from the first FNAF game. And it seems that all of these prototype characters have all made sense. But let's think about Mr. Cupcake. Who's Mr. Cupcake's prototype and variant? Mr. Cupcake first appeared in the very first FNAF game, being held by Chica as just Mr. Cupcake. And ever since after that, no one's really looked for a prototype variant of the cupcake. There was the Toy Cupcake and Shadow Cupcake, Nightmare Cupcake, but where did Mr. Cupcake come from? Here's my theory. What if the Golden Cupcake is the original, the first prototype that was made to then be changed into the well-known Carl in 1993. What is my basis for this evidence? Well, here's a few things. For one, just the color related to Golden Freddy and Spring Bonnie. Two, it doesn't really fit anywhere else. And the third reason comes from the Freddy Files book. If we turn to page 83 in the Freddy Files, this is the page that references the Golden Cupcake. To me, it's quite the coincidence to literally have the Golden Cupcake on page 83 when we all know that 1983 is one of the most important years in the FNAF timeline. And if you happen to look at the page right across from that, it's literally talking about the Springlock suits of Golden Freddy and Spring Bonnie, all characters from the 1980s. So where does the Golden Cupcake fit in with the Bite of 83? In the FNAF 4 cutscenes, we get the main story of the Bite of 83 and the crying child story overall. We get taken back in time to see the pizzeria as it once was with just two animatronics, both Springlocks, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. Now if you think about it, every single animatronic either has a prop or something notable about it. For instance, Freddy always holds a microphone, Chica has Mr. Cupcake, Bonnie holds a guitar, Foxy has a very unique hook, and so forth and so on. Every character has seemed to have something unique about it. And if we look at the cutscenes from FNAF 4, we see Fredbear holding his classic microphone, just like always. But what about Spring Bonnie? Every time we see Spring Bonnie in FNAF, he's never actually holding anything. In FNAF 4, his hands are blocked and you can't actually see what he's holding. And in FNAF 3, the Springlock suit doesn't have any sort of propelling around it, possibly that was kept with the suit. It's just the suit. But doesn't that seem weird to think that you would have an animatronic on stage and not be holding anything? Now hear me out. What if the Golden Cupcake was Spring Bonnie's original prop before Bonnie started holding a guitar? And what if William Afton used the Golden Cupcake to lure his victims into the back room? And here's just one more little piece of proof. In FNAF 4, on night 4, the minigame where you are trapped inside the parts and service room, what do you see on the shelves? You see endoskeleton heads and masks, but one of the objects is a hand, possibly a replacement hand. And the hand to me just looks weird. It almost looks like it was made to hold something. To me, this looks like a replacement hand for Spring Bonnie. And if you think about it, the position that the hand is in looks like it could hold a plate with a cupcake on it, which would perfectly match the rendering that is on page 83 of the Freddy files. Because this rendering has a plate, which means it had to have been held by someone before. In FNAF 3, it was just the cupcake and not the plate. But now that we know it has a plate, it has to have an owner. And I think that owner was Spring Bonnie. Now, what are the implications of this theory? And what does this really add to FNAF? Well, if this prop does belong to Spring Bonnie, this could be the very item that William Afton used in his trickery of his victims, which would mean this would be a very big deal, and is why it shows up in FNAF every now and then as a forgotten memory.
And so with that, make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed today's video, and let me know in the comments what you think about this theory or any theories you might have about this topic, and I will see you again in another FNAF video.